The reaction you had yesterday, the one you are still thinking about, the one you wish you could take back, that was not you. That was a child who learned a very long time ago that the world was not safe. And that child is still inside you, still deciding how you respond, still running the show, and you did not even know. This is not a metaphor. This is not a comforting idea someone invented to make you feel better. This is what is actually happening inside you. Every single time you react in a way that confuses even yourself. Every single time you say something you did not mean. Every single time you shut down when you wanted to stay open. Every single time you explode when all you wanted was to feel heard. That is not a character flaw. That is a program that was written inside you before you were old enough to question it, before you were old enough to choose differently. There is something most people never get told, and it changes everything once you understand it. Your nervous system does not live in the present, not fully. It carries the past with it. Every experience you had as a child, every moment where love felt uncertain, every moment where you felt small and powerless, every moment where the people around you were unpredictable, got recorded. Not in your memory the way you remember a story. Deeper than that, in your body, in your nervous system, in the part of you that operates beneath thought, beneath logic, beneath everything your conscious mind tries to control. And here is what that means for you today. When something happens in your life right now, a tone of voice, a moment of silence from someone you love, a feeling of being ignored, a sense that you are being criticized, your nervous system scans it instantly, without asking your permission, and if it finds even the smallest similarity to something painful from your past, it does not wait. It reacts. Not as the adult you are today, as the child you once were. The child who had no other choice but to protect itself the only way it knew how. This is why your reactions feel bigger than the moment. This is why a small comment can feel like an attack. This is why silence from someone you love can feel like abandonment. This is why criticism, even gentle criticism, can feel like rejection at the deepest level. You are not overreacting. You are underinformed. You have never been shown what is actually driving you. Most people go their entire lives managing the surface, trying to stay calm, trying to think before they speak, trying to be better, and wondering why, despite all of that trying, the same reactions keep coming back, the same arguments, the same patterns. The same version of themselves showing up in the moments that matter most. And the reason is this: you cannot manage what you do not understand. You cannot change a program you do not know is running. The program was installed early, very early, in the years when your brain was wide open, when you had no filter, no defense, no way to question what you were absorbing. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your mind was operating in a state that neuroscientists compare to hypnosis. Everything went in, every experience, every emotion you witnessed in the people around you. Every moment where you needed something and did not receive it. Every moment where you felt unsafe and had to find a way to cope. All of it became the blueprint. The blueprint your subconscious mind still uses today to interpret every situation, every relationship, every moment of tension or uncertainty in your life. And that blueprint was not written by you. It was written by your experiences, by the environment you had no control over, by the adults around you who were themselves running their own unexamined programs, by the moments that felt too big for your small nervous system to process. So your mind did what minds do. It adapted. It created a set of responses designed to keep you safe, and it locked them in, deep, where logic cannot easily reach them, where willpower alone cannot dissolve them, where simply deciding to be different is rarely enough. This is not about blame, not for the people who raised you, not for the environment that shaped you. This is about understanding, because understanding is the only real starting point. You cannot transform what you are unwilling to see clearly, and most people are never shown clearly enough what they are actually dealing with. They are told to be more disciplined, to think more positively, to just let it go. As if the nervous system responds to instructions, as if the subconscious mind changes because you decided it should. It does not work that way, and somewhere inside you, you already know that. Because you have tried. You have told yourself to calm down. You have told yourself to stop reacting. You have told yourself that this time will be different, and then the moment arrives, and the program runs anyway, not because you are weak, not because you are broken, but because no one ever showed you what was really there. No one ever took you beneath the reaction to the root of it, to the child who created it, to the moment it all began. That is what this is about. So now you know there is a program. You know it was written early. You know it lives beneath your conscious mind. But there is something even deeper you need to understand. Something that explains why simply knowing this is not enough to change it. The program does not just live in your thoughts. It lives in your body. This is the part most people completely miss. When they try to change their reactions, they go to their mind. They analyze. They journal. They talk about it. And all of that has its place. But the program was never stored in your thinking mind. It was stored in your nervous system, in the tension in your shoulders, in the tightening of your chest, in the way your breath shortens before your thoughts even catch up. Your body knew before your mind did. Your body always knows before your mind does. Think about the last time you were triggered, really triggered, not mildly annoyed, genuinely activated. Where did you feel it first? In your chest, in your stomach, in your throat. The body moved before the thought arrived. Because the program does not run through logic, it runs through sensation, through the nervous system's memory of what danger once felt like. And here is what makes this even more significant. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a memory and a present moment. When a situation today carries even a faint emotional resemblance to something painful from your past, your nervous system treats it as the same event, same chemical response, same physical sensations, same emotional intensity, as if no time has passed at all, as if you are still that child, still in that room, still in that moment. This is why certain people affect you more than others. This is why certain environments make you feel small even when nothing has actually threatened you. This is why certain words, certain tones, certain silences land with a weight that makes no logical sense. They are not just happening now, they are echoing something from before, and your nervous system is responding to both at the same time. There is a name for this in psychology. It is called a trigger. But the word has been used so casually, so loosely, that most people have lost the real meaning of it. A trigger is not just something that upsets you. A trigger is a present moment event that activates a stored emotional wound from the past. It is a doorway, and what is behind that doorway is not the present situation. It is the original pain, the original feeling of being rejected, the original feeling of being unseen, the original feeling of being unsafe. And when that door opens, everything behind it floods the present moment. That is why the reaction feels so much bigger than the situation, because it is bigger. It is carrying years inside it. Now here is something most people do when they get triggered. They either explode outward or they collapse inward. They attack, or they disappear. They say too much, or they go completely silent. And both of these responses, as different as they look, on the surface are doing the exact same thing underneath. They are the child's survival mechanism dressed in adult clothing. The child who learned that anger kept people at a distance grew into the adult who uses anger to feel safe. The child who learned that disappearing avoided punishment grew into the adult who shuts down under pressure. The child who learned that being perfect earned love grew into the adult who cannot tolerate their own mistakes. The child who learned that staying small kept the peace grew into the adult who cannot speak their truth without feeling immediate guilt. Every pattern you have in your adult life has a version of this underneath it. Every way you sabotage yourself, every relationship dynamic that keeps repeating, every ceiling you cannot seem to break through. Beneath all of it, there is a child who made a decision about the world. About what was safe, about what was dangerous, about what love looked like, about what they had to become in order to survive. And that decision, made by a child with a child's understanding, is still being honored today by your nervous system, by your subconscious mind, by the automatic responses that fire before you even have a chance to choose. This is not weakness. Say that to yourself slowly. This is not weakness. This is the most human thing there is. Every person walking this earth is carrying a version of this. The most composed person in the room, the most successful, the most certain. All of them have a program running. All of them have moments where the child takes over. The difference is not who has the wound. The difference is who has seen it, who has gone beneath the surface and looked at it clearly. Without flinching, without turning away. Because here is the truth about your reactions. They were never random. They were never signs that something is fundamentally wrong with you. They were signals. Every reaction that has ever confused you, every pattern that has ever frustrated you, every moment where you did not recognize yourself was a signal pointing to something unresolved. Something that has been waiting, not to destroy you, to be understood. The child inside you is not your enemy. This is perhaps the most important shift you can make. That part of you that reacts, that panics, that shuts down, that lashes out, was never trying to ruin your life. It was trying to protect it, with the only tools it had, with the only understanding it had, at an age when survival was everything and wisdom was not yet available, and it has been doing that job ever since, loyally, consistently, even when you outgrew the need for it. Even when the danger it was protecting you from no longer exists, it kept going, because no one told it to stop, because no one showed it that things are different now, because no one went back and gave that child what it actually needed. That is the work. Not managing your reactions from the outside, not building more discipline over the surface. The real work is going inward, going back, not to relive the pain, but to finally meet the part of you that has been carrying it alone for so long. So the question now is not why. You already know why. The question is what happens next. What do you actually do with everything you now understand? And the answer is not what most people expect. It is not a technique. It is not a breathing exercise. It is not a list of steps to follow the next time you feel triggered. Those things have their place, but they are not the root. And you are done working on the surface. The real shift begins with something much quieter, much more fundamental. It begins with the way you see yourself in the moment the reaction happens. Right now, when you react, when the program fires, when the child takes over, what do you do immediately after? Most people judge themselves harshly. Why did I do that again? What is wrong with me? I should be past this by now. And that judgment, that immediate self-attack is itself another layer of the program. Because somewhere in your childhood, you learned that your emotions were wrong, that your reactions were too much, that you needed to control yourself, suppress yourself, be different from what you naturally were. And so now, as an adult, you do to yourself exactly what was done to you then. You reject the part of you that is in pain. This is the cycle most people never see. The wound creates the reaction. The reaction creates the shame. The shame drives the wound deeper. And the deeper the wound goes, the stronger the next reaction becomes. Breaking this cycle does not begin with control. It begins with something that will feel unfamiliar at first. It begins with witnessing. Witnessing means that in the moment after the reaction, instead of immediately attacking yourself, you pause. Just for a second, and you notice, something in me just responded very strongly. Something in me felt unsafe. Something in me that is much younger than I am today just took over. That is not a statement of weakness. That is a statement of awareness. And awareness is where everything changes, because the subconscious program only has full power over you when you are completely unconscious of it. The moment you bring even a small amount of awareness to it, the moment you see it happening, rather than just being swept away by it, something shifts. Not completely, not instantly, but something shifts. A tiny space opens up between the trigger and the response, and in that space, for the first time, there is a choice. That space is everything. That space is the difference between a life lived entirely inside the program, and a life where you are slowly, genuinely becoming the one who runs it. Now, this does not mean the reactions stop overnight. It does not mean the child disappears. It does not mean you will never again feel that tightening in your chest, that rise of emotion, that familiar pull toward the old response. You will feel all of that. For a while, you will feel it often, but the relationship you have with it begins to change. Instead of being consumed by it, you start to observe it. Instead of fighting it, you start to understand it. Instead of hating that part of yourself, you begin, slowly, to have compassion for it. And compassion is not softness. Do not misunderstand that word. Compassion for the wounded part of you is one of the most powerful forces available to you. Because that wounded part, that child, has never once in its existence been met with genuine understanding. It has been suppressed, criticized, told it was too much, told it needed to be different, but it has never been truly seen, and what has never been seen cannot heal. When you begin to see it, really see it, something remarkable starts to happen. The charge behind the reactions begins to lessen, not because you are controlling them harder, but because the wound beneath them is finally receiving something it has always needed: acknowledgement, presence, the simple but profound message that what happened to you mattered, that how you felt made sense. That you were not too much. You were just a child in a situation that was too much for a child. This is identity work at its deepest level, because the identity you have been living from, the one that reacts, the one that protects, the one that shrinks or explodes, was never truly yours. It was built for survival. It was built for a version of the world that no longer fully exists, and you have been wearing it long past the point where it fits. The identity that is waiting for you on the other side of this work is not louder. It is not harder. It is not more armored. It is quieter, more grounded, more certain. It does not need to react because it does not feel threatened by the same things anymore. It can be still in moments that used to send you into chaos. It can stay open in moments that used to make you shut down completely. It can respond rather than react, from a place of clarity rather than a place of old pain. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is not some distant ideal that only a few people get to reach. It is who you actually are beneath the program, beneath the conditioning. Beneath everything that was layered onto you before you had a say. You were not born reactive. You were not born afraid. You were not born with walls around you and a nervous system primed for threat. You were born open, curious, fully present, without the weight of all the things that came after. And that original version of you has never left. It has only been buried, under years of protection, under years of adaptation, under years of becoming whoever you needed to be just to feel safe enough to keep going. The work is not to become someone new. The work is to return, to come back to the version of yourself that existed before the world told you who you had to be, before the wound, before the program, before the child decided that love was conditional and safety had to be earned. That return does not happen all at once. It happens in small moments, in the pause after the reaction, in the breath before the old response, in the quiet decision to witness yourself instead of punish yourself, in the slowly growing understanding that you are not your program. You never were. You are the one who can see it now, and that changes everything. The reactions will soften, the triggers will lose their grip. The child inside you will slowly, for the first time, begin to feel safe. Not because the world became perfect, but because you became present. Present enough to finally say, I see you. I understand now. You do not have to protect me like this anymore. I am here, and I am not going anywhere. That is where it ends, and that is where you begin.